All right, so we were sent a screener for a movie called Lilly Lives Alone. And the movie is about a woman named Lilly.
Who lives alone.
She sure does. Or does she? Plot twist. So, yeah, Lilly. She sure does live alone. And she's waking up with this one-night stand who... You know, she's acting all odd around and then boots him from the house.
Yeah.
She goes to work. She has a good relationship with her friend there, but, you know, she's got a bad reputation in town.
She's a troubled woman.
Something happened, and there's a reminder of it on her car in the morning, and she's dealing with that, and her neighbors and everyone around seems to have their opinion of her and what's happened.
Yep.
And we explore that, and 99% of the film takes place in her house with mostly her. I would say she's probably alone for 60% of the movie.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it is only a few characters. One of them played by Jeffrey Combs.
Yes.
Cool to see him.
Yeah. He's
probably only in the film for maybe 7 or 8 minutes. But
yeah, he's got a smaller-ish role.
Yeah, but it's not like a cameo or anything.
No. It's a role.
He's got a significant, substantial little part.
Yeah, I liked him in this, actually.
Yeah.
So.
I unfortunately did not care for this film much, though. I'll let you take it from here, though.
Yeah, I also didn't really like the film. It just didn't work for me in a lot of ways. I guess the positives I'll say first. I actually don't think that the performances are really bad or anything.
No.
I think that the lead actress is actually seems to be quite a talented actor. So I don't have a problem with anybody's performance, I'd like to say.
Yeah.
But I did not like the story. And I don't like how it was handled. It's kind of hard to say because I guess like you had said, it's like when we were talking earlier, it's a very bare bones, simplistic framework for what's happening, but it feels very predictable in a lot of ways, which might be one of the problems that I'm having with it, but also kind of boring.
Yeah.
There are things happening.
It's vague minimalism.
Yeah, but... And it's we're huge fans of ambiguity in film. I love that. That is not really the problem, but I don't feel like it does the ambiguity well enough because, like I said, I also feel like it's pretty predictable.
Yeah.
So it's like I just felt like I was in this weird state the whole time with the film where I was like, is it going to surprise me? Is it going to do something different? And then just kind of ending up being disappointed because it was what I was expecting it to be. And didn't really go anywhere very interesting to me, I guess.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm explaining myself properly.
No, you're fine. I just feel like with our main character here, we know something happened.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the lingering mystery of the movie. And you're trying to wait it out to see, what happened and what is happening. And I just feel like it doesn't really build to much of anything interesting to me. As I had previously stated while you were talking there's this vague minimalism to the movie where the actual whole meat and potatoes of the film is being stretched very thin.
Yeah.
Where it's just kind of like they have this basic idea of something that happened, which you can pretty easily guess. I mean, it's very obvious what it is that's going on, and there's just not enough to continue to create intrigue for 90 minutes.
Yeah, because I felt like the main character, I just felt like she wasn't... It's weird because I think that you could watch the film and be like, there's a lot of emotional stuff happening here. Like, this is a really troubled character. There should be a lot to explore.
There's no arc.
But I don't feel like there isn't an arc.
Yeah.
It feels kind of the same the entire time.
Agreed.
And that makes it difficult because it's like, there's no problem with having messed up characters that
Yeah.
are flawed and bad people or whatever, like, that's not the issue, but it's like you kind of need to see an ebb and flow to things, and I
Yeah.
don't feel like we get enough of that. Like, there are a few moments where she's with a friend and she's like different-ish maybe, but it's not enough. I don't know. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's the arc that's missing.
She's also just an extremely unlikable person.
Which is fine. I don't
Which
really
is
care
fine.
about that part. But it can make it hard to relate to characters sometimes if there's not anybody in the film that you can, like... Which, I don't know. That's fine, though. I don't really have a problem with her being unlikable. I agree, though. I think she is an unlikable character, but that's what I was meaning by her being troubled and flawed.
But I feel like in this movie particularly, and that's why I'm mentioning it, it does matter that she's not likable, because I am supposed to feel for her, but I don't. Because I don't like her, because I think she's a shitty person, because I don't think that she's deserving of my sympathy. And trying and to root for her, or to stand by her as she's going through whatever she's going through. So that does somewhat hurt the film. And then, of course, the repetitious nature of the story, where she's just kind of the same person from beginning to end, and everything in between is just kind of a recycling of it. She's like looking out the window at her neighbors and is mad at them, and she keeps being like paranoid about that, and then she runs around the house and she does a bunch of drugs, and then she's like frantically freaking out, and then she's back to it, and it's the same thing over and over. And then by the end, it's like we grew nothing, we learned nothing that we couldn't have gleaned from the first 5 minutes, and the resolution just kind of feels tacked on in the last minute, where it's like, how did we get here? From everything experienced, nothing's gained. So how did then we get to this last minute of the movie during the credits?
Yeah, I think like what you were saying, there's an atmosphere that's missing.
True.
Especially to the paranoia aspect, which is actually quite a big part of the film.
Yeah.
And her character.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like... It doesn't really come across as an earned paranoia, maybe, or sometimes when you watch movies, either the character is acting really paranoid and you can see as the viewer that they're being paranoid and everybody around them is clearly not having bad intentions, but the character's interpreting it in certain ways, right? Or you're also the viewer in the same boat as the character, where you're also paranoid of everybody because you're like, I don't know if they have bad intentions. This film, I feel like, doesn't do either of those, really. Because on one hand, you can see, she's really paranoid, but I couldn't get a feel for if, I think the unreliable narrator thing wasn't working very well. I guess.
I guess the question becomes, while watching the movie, what is she paranoid of? Right? It's been 10 years. So why are we still paranoid? And what is it that we're trying... what are we attaching ourselves to in the film that escalates the tension? Yeah. I don't really know what I'm supposed to be feeling about her throughout the film. Is she afraid to die?
Yeah. Right.
Is she being stalked in a way where she's fearing for her life, or that she's going to get caught for some crime, or that she's just kind of insane? And it's like, okay, so you're just watching a crazy person walk around their house, but to what end?
Yeah.
I guess that's probably the biggest problem with the film for me, is that I never really understood the stakes.
Yeah.
I didn't understand what I was supposed to be worried about for her or with her, or what she was exactly upset about outside of what had happened in the past, which is still lingering after all these years, as maybe it should, but that doesn't add a level of threat or intrigue to me where I'm like, how's she going to get out of this? How's this going to get resolved? Oh my God, I hope she doesn't die because it's so scary for her. I didn't really honestly know what I was supposed to be feeling. And here's another thing with these types of movies. So and this is kind of a fault of mine, but I think everyone experiences this, so hopefully you can understand what I'm saying, or maybe you're not like this and I'm just crazy, but like when you start to check out of a film, like when you're kind of bored by it and you're not really resonating with it and your hand starts gravitating towards your phone and you're trying not to look at it and you're like,
hard.
oh, I'm trying to focus. The dialogue, you start to like not pay attention to every word, and then you start to feel lost, even though you might not be, or you might, I don't know, like I was sitting there and there were certain things that were going on and I was so checked out from it that there was dialogue going on that I think would be very easy to follow if you were locked in.
I don't think
but because I was starting to completely check out some of the dialogue that was happening, I started to feel like I didn't know what was happening.
Totally.
And I think that was more out of boredom than execution, where I'm sure if I just went back and I listened to it again, I'd be like, oh, it's straightforward. It's very easy to follow. But I'm just kind of like not interested. So the dialogue starts to kind of fade into the background. You know how like people talk like I do sometimes, I'm sure.
And, like,
and you're just like, like, okay, is he done yet?
Charlie Brown's parents. Yeah, I hear that all the time. I'm just kidding.
You heard it here, folks. You heard it here.
In our reviews, when you see me just glazed over, like, waiting. No. I totally understand what you're saying, though, about this. And I think that that's a very good indicator of, like, what we were already saying, which is just that the film ends up being kind of boring, honestly. So, it's just really not a recommendation from me or from you, I think. Like, we didn't vibe with it. Again, no hate at all to the actors or anything. I think that they did a good job with their roles and everything. But the writing and maybe the direction and stuff just wasn't working for us. So it's kind of all I have to say. I don't know. I don't have much else.
Yeah. The atmosphere never was consistent in this film. And I feel like that's one of the biggest lacking elements. So that's it. Anyway.
Let us know if you watched it, though, what you think. Don't watch it if you haven't watched it, but if you've already watched it, or you're like one of those people that's like, I gotta know what they're talking about. Sure. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, make your own decision.
Of course. Yes, of course.
And that's what Kayla hears, I guess. All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.